Will the House please come to order and members kindly take their seats? Good afternoon. The devotional today will be led by Representative and Reverend Tom Charlton of Chester.
There is a poem that has rattled around in my brain so long I have no idea who wrote it, where it came from, and apologies if it's one of you. But I'd like to lead out with this devotional verse. There once was two cats of Kilkenny, as each thought was one cat too many. And they bit and they clawed and they fit and they chawed, till instead of two cats, there weren't any. Now, as an alternate to that lovely visual, I would encourage you to consider a list of impossible to pronounce names in the Old Testament, which is not where normal people go looking for inspiration because they're terrified they're going to be asked to read them out loud, and they make your eyes hurt. Most people skim by them. But in an effort to answer for myself, why are these things here? I spent a week once and discovered something about that list of 37 names. It's in the 23rd chapter of 2 Samuel. And it's a list of the names of the key leadership during the reign of King David. And of these names, if you get past the pronunciation, you discovered that a very few of them were family members of David's. Not most, and that was unusual in the ancient Near East. A very few were from his home community, but not most of them. Some of them were from urban centers in the area. Some of them were from towns that were so small, their archaeological footprint is under an acre. Some of them were Israelite and Judean, but a fair number of them don't even have Hebrew names. They're Ammonite and from the surrounding neighbors who were historically rivals and even enemies of the ancient people of Israel. They did not always get along perfectly well, but we know they were dedicated to the same cause. We know that they had leadership qualities to make that kingdom function for its day. And we know that despite the variety of backgrounds that they came from, they did what they did so well that their names are remembered 3 millennia later. Should we choose it, at least for our own day, this is us. Thank you.
Members, we have 5 House bills for introduction today. House Bill 124 is an act relating to the Commissioner of Financial Regulation and an annual supervision and regulation report introduced by Representative Priestley of Bradford and others. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
H-124, an act relating to the Commissioner of Financial Regulation and an annual supervision and regulation report.
Now the bill has been read the first time and is referred to the Committee on Commerce and Economic Development. Next is House Bill 125, which is an act relating to reporting on the energy transition, introduced by Representative Sibilia of Dover. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
H-125, an act relating to reporting on the energy transition.
Now the bill has been read the first time and is referred to the Committee on Energy and Digital Infrastructure. House Bill 126 is an act relating to universal basic income payments for youth exiting foster care, introduced by Representative Goldman of Rockingham. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
H-126, an act relating to universal basic income payments for youth exiting foster care.
Now the bill has been read the first time and is referred to the Committee on Human Services. Next is House Bill 127, which is an act relating to deed restrictions and renewable energy devices, introduced by Representative Dodge of Essex. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
H-127, an act relating to deed restrictions and renewable energy devices.
Now the bill has been read the first time and is referred to the Committee on General and Housing. Finally, House Bill 128 is an act relating to unlawful drug activity in a dwelling by a person who is not a legal tenant, introduced by Representative Booton of Berry City and others. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
H 128, an act relating to unlawful drug activity in a dwelling by a person who is not a legal tenant.
Now, the bill has been read the first time and is referred to the Committee on Judiciary. Members, we have a House resolution to take up at this time. HR 5 is a House resolution authorizing limited remote committee voting through the remainder of the calendar year for 2025, offered by the Committee on Rules. Please listen to the reading of the resolution by title only.
HR 5, House Resolution authorizing limited remote committee voting through the remainder of calendar year 2025.
Now you've heard the reading of the resolution, and it is placed on the calendar for action on the next legislative day pursuant to House Rule 52. Members, we received a request to read a House concurrent resolution that the House and Senate adopted pursuant to the consent calendar. HCR 9 is a House concurrent resolution honoring the Vermonters who created the Tony Award-winning musical Hadestown and the Vermont Theatrical Youth Ensembles now staging exhilarating teen performances. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
Whereas shortly after New Haven's Anais Mitchell graduated from Middlebury College in 2004, she completed the original minimalist version of the future Tony Award-winning Broadway musical Hadestown, a modern rendition of the Greek legend of Orpheus's ultimately futile journey into the underworld of Hades to return Eurydice, his wife, to the world of the living. And whereas in 2006, Anais Mitchell, Lincoln's Michael Chorney orchestrator, Montpelier's Ben T. Matchstick co-creator, and other theatrically talented Vermonters premiered Hadestown at the Old Labor Hall in Barrie. And in 2013, Anais Mitchell, in collaboration with Broadway director Rachel Chavkin, Michael Chorney, and others, began revising Hadestown for greater theatrical glory. And East Montpelier's Robinson Morse has been an onstage performing musician with the show since at least 2019. And whereas on April 17th, 2019, the dream became a reality when Hadestown debuted to rave reviews at Broadway's Walter Kerr Theater. And in June of 2019, the creator's unusual perseverance was recognized when Hadestown received 8 Tony Awards, Broadway's highest accolade, and the most any show won that year, among which were Best Musical, Best Direction of a Musical, Rachel Chavkin, Best Original Score, Anais Mitchell, and Best Orchestrations, Michael Chorney and Todd Sikafus. And whereas the Young Thespians of People's Academy in Morrisville and the nonprofit Very Merry Theater in Burlington recently performed a new teen version of this Vermont-created and Tony Award-winning show. And whereas under the leadership of U32 Middle and High School Performing Arts Director Erin Galligan Baldwin, and the unique guidance of Anais Mitchell and Ben T. Matchstick, an ambitious U32 Montpelier High School joint presentation of the teen production is currently being staged at U32. And whereas Vermont's Youngsters' presentation of the teen version of Hadestown with the support of the musical's creators is an unusual theatrical event worthy of celebration. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that the General Assembly honors the Vermonters who created the Tony Award-winning musical Hadestown and the Vermont Theatrical Youth Ensembles now staging exhilarating teen performances. And be it further resolved that the Secretary of State be directed to send a copy of this resolution to Anais Mitchell, Michael Chorney, Ben T. Matchstick, Rachel Chavkin, Robinson Morse, People's Academy, the Very Merry Theater, Erin Galligan Baldwin, U32 Middle and High School, and Montpelier High School.
Are there any announcements? Member from East Montpelier.
Madam Speaker, please join me to welcome a number of highly talented artists visiting our chamber today. We just heard the reading of our resolution recognizing Hadestown and all of these folks. This is a folk opera originally created in 2006 through community theater right here in Vermont, and eventually adapted to Broadway in 2019, bringing home 8 Tony Awards that year. Hadestown is a timeless musical tale with deeply moving messages about the power of love, hope, challenge, and persistence. Based on Greek mythology of Orpheus and Eurydice, Hades and Persephone, it's timeless, and yet it feels extremely timely for many of us today. I want to recognize a few Vermonters that represent some incredibly artistic creativity and talent in our state that have brought this piece of art to life for people near and far. I'd like to welcome to the chamber Cheryl and Don Mitchell, Aeneas Mitchell's parents from New Haven, Aeneas being the songwriter and composer of the Hadestown music, Ben T. Matchstick of Montpelier, who's the co-creator of the community theater production. He's an incredible storyteller, entrepreneur, and educator here in Montpelier. Michael Chorney of Lincoln, who is an incredible musician, musical orchestrator, and Robinson Morse of East Montpelier, who is a very talented musician and comes from a very deep-seated musical family in my hometown of East Montpelier, who has played with the Broadway run for years. And I also want to invite you to welcome my family, my husband Simeon, and my 2 children, Ari and Ezra, who are with the group today. I would like to, may I quote a letter from Aeneas?
You may.
As in the words of Aeneas, Hadestown wouldn't exist without the crazy faith and downright magic of Vermonters, those who collaborated on the show in the early days, those who supported it during its impossibly long road to Broadway, and those who are bringing it to life even now in Vermont high schools. So on behalf of the representatives and senators from Washington and Addison counties, please help me in welcoming my family and these 4 extremely talented Vermont artists and their family members to the House chamber today.
Will the family and the guest of the member from East Montpelier please rise and be recognized? Member from West Rutland.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, tomorrow morning in the cafeteria from 8 to 9, Chief Justice Paul Reiber will be in there. Just talking with anybody who wants to have a chat with him. If you can't make it tomorrow, before the end of the session, I highly recommend to go in and sit down with him and just get to know him a little bit.
Are there any further announcements? Member from Brattleboro.
Madam Speaker, final announcement of our debate on the Brigham decision. That would be tonight at 5 p.m. in this room. Hope to see people there. And members of the public are welcome if there's anyone you would like to invite to make a lovely date of it.
Are there any further announcements? Member from Middlebury.
Madam Speaker, it's a big day for Middlebury College alumni. We have a special guest from the brave little hamlet of Middlebury, a fellow Middlebury graduate, our former distinguished town moderator for the town of Middlebury, and former governor of the state of Vermont. Will the body please join me in welcoming Governor Douglas and his Middlebury College J-term class?
Will the guest of the member of Middlebury please rise and be recognized? Member from Bradford.
Madam Speaker, I have a guest, constituent and friend in the balcony, Allie Clayton, and would the body please help me welcome her?
Will the guest of the member from Bradford please rise and be recognized? Member from Rockingham.
Madam Speaker, I'm honored to introduce 4 constituents here from Rockingham representing Third Act Vermont. Third Act is a statewide working group, which is part of National Third Act. People over 60 are working together to protect climate and democracy. Third Act Vermont has over 1,000 members. Please welcome Amy Louise Pfeffer, John Hart, Steve Crofter, and Lowell Green. Thank you.
Will the guest of the member from Rockingham please rise and be recognized? Member from Montpelier.
Madam Speaker, the Executive Director of the Very Merry Theater, Dawn Wright, is with us today with Marketing Manager Ben Portway and young actor Sam Ackes. Dawn directed Hadestown last month with a cast of 50 teens. As an educator at U32 High School and a proud mom of 2 Montpelier Solons, I'm delighted that we also have with us today theater directors Aaron Gallagher Baldwin from U32 and Marin Langdon Spillane from Montpelier. They teamed up with an amazing group of music directors, musicians, choreographers, costume and lighting designers, tech specialists, and a large cast and crew to harness the power of collaboration for 7 sold-out shows over 2 weekends. Among those young thespians here today is my daughter, Nora, and my oldest daughter, Casey, my grandson, Dante, and my husband, John, are also here. Please join me in welcoming all those visiting with ties to Vermont productions of Hadestown Teen Edition to the People's House.
Will the guest and the family member from Montpelier please rise and be recognized? Member from South Burlington.
Madam Speaker, I'm excited to announce the Public Health Caucus's first speaker, Pam Berenbaum, who is a professor of practice and associate director of program engagement for the Global Health Program at Middlebury College. Pam was previously an infectious disease epidemiologist at UVM, where she specialized in syndromic surveillance, bioterrorism, and all hazards emergency preparedness. She was intimately involved with the state's response to 9/11, the anthrax terror attacks of 2001, and the 2009 H1N1 influenza pandemic and other public health emergencies. This event will take place next Friday, February 7th at noon in the pavilion and will focus on how preparedness and long-term policymaking saves lives and money. All are welcome. Please also help me welcome our wonderful intern from the University of Vermont, Sarah Kelleher, who is a senior at UVM, majoring in public health and French. Sarah has been helping us stay organized and providing an invaluable young adult perspective to this effort. Thank you.
Will the guest of the member from South Burlington please rise and be recognized? Are there any further announcements? Seeing none. Orders of the day. Members will begin with House Bill 27, which is an act relating to the Domestic Violence Fatality Review Commission. Please listen to the third reading of the bill.
H 27, an act relating to the Domestic Violence Fatality Review Commission.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have passed the bill. The final bill on our action calendar for today is House Bill 35, which is an act relating to the unmerging the individual and small group health insurance markets. Please listen to the third reading of the bill.
H 35, an act relating to unmerging the individual and small group health insurance markets.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have passed the bill. Members, that completes the orders of the day. Are there any announcements? Seeing none. Member from Poultney, can you please offer us a motion to adjourn until Friday, January 31st at 9:30 a.m.?
Madam Speaker, I make a motion this body stand in adjournment until Friday, January 31st, 2025 at 9:30 a.m.
The member from Poultney moves that we adjourn until Friday, January 31st at 9:30 a.m. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and this body stands in adjournment until tomorrow at 9:30.